going to experience setbacks, or an individual is going to experience setbacks. So we just want to understand how hard it can get and prepare an individual that these are some of the mindsets you need to have, these are some of the communities you need to join, these are some of the things or actions you need to take part of so that you can recover from alcohol addiction. In studio this morning, I'm joined by David Ogot, who's a recovering alcoholic. Thank you very much for your time this morning.
Thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome. Now, just to set the pace or the tone for this conversation, allow us to look at particular footage that has really been trending online of two children, siblings for that matter, adults, not children, siblings, but adults who, were having a conversation with their father on just alcohol and, asking him to just tone it down and sort of control how much he intakes. Let's just listen into that to set the tone for this conversation.
Ambo unatoka tu nje kama venye mama maybe hataki moshi, unatoka nje unaenda unapiga pale sigara.
Yaani sigara kwa nyumba.
Thank you. Naenda uvutia pale nje.
Ule nyumeka, utangi sigara kwa nyumba.
Mbona usiweke hiyo rule? Monday to Friday kunywa pombe.
Sikunywi pombe. Itikanwa.
Na dadi, wacha nikwambie, unaona
kwa sababu upati mwili break na ukunywe maji na ukuli.
Hiyo ni kujiua direct.
Pole pole. Na tutaki desema kumbuka tulichangia shosho pia kuenda.
Ndio hiyo.
So that is a situation perhaps in many households across the country, with a parent who's an addict to alcohol, and just siblings and children, adults as well, who are looking at this person and just they can see how much of a problem it is, and trying to talk to this individual to tone it down, to quit alcohol, but it's never that sort of an easy decision, and just to achieve the end goal of recovering from it is quite a process. So let us now talk to David Ogot, who is in no better position really but to speak about this because of going through alcohol and recovering from it. Perhaps what would you define as an alcohol addict as, or a person that is addicted to alcohol? Is it an individual that regularly on a day-to-day basis will drink alcohol? Is this somebody who perhaps just takes alcohol often in a week, or countful number of times in a week? What would you describe it as?
It's a person essentially who has lost control, mainly of their consumption. So, for example, I have not had a drink like in about 25 plus years, but immediately if I would take some alcohol now, let's say I say that let me go and take one beer. I have not drank for so long. Once I genuinely want to take one beer. But once I take the beer or whatever alcohol I take, the alcohol decides, is it one beer, one crate, or I'm there for 1 week or 1 month. That's the loss of control I have. And until my body clears that alcohol from my system, I don't have any control. And that's why we have to leave. That's why I always say, when people say stop drinking, you have a drinking problem. I say, no, I don't have a drinking problem. I have a stopping problem. Now, there's also types of alcoholic. And so you find somebody, when they drink, it can be during a celebration, they got a promotion or something, they will drink, and do all the things pertaining to alcoholism, crazy drinking, and then they stop for a period. It can be weeks, it can be months. So you find I am drinking as my alcoholic every day, because now when I don't drink, my body goes into withdrawal like any other drug, demanding the drug, because my body is in equilibrium when I'm now using my drug of choice. That's what addiction is. And when you don't top up, essentially, you go into withdrawal. So shaking, hallucinations, and so on and so forth. But this other fellow can stay even for weeks. So there I am drinking daily and doing my daily messes, and then this person drinks, let's say, after 3 months. But in that one episode, they will do what I've done in 3 months in one big bang. So it is essentially you keep drinking in spite of negative consequences, and this is to the person as a whole. So my health is being affected, my reputation, my finances, my relationships with family and so on. The whole person, and you still drink in spite of that.
Right, and I'm curious about how an individual how do they reach that point of self-awareness? Is it a point where families now sit you down and start telling you, by the way, you have a stopping problem and you need to seek help? How does that self-awareness come about? Or how can people make you self-aware of the point that you are at?
The self-awareness is where the problem is. This is the catch-22 of helping an alcoholic. Because my t-shirts always have messages, and one of them says alcoholism is the only disease that tells you don't have it. So you'll always hear any alcoholic you talk to, I'm drinking because. So the drinking is not a problem. And in fact, sometimes I'll even accept that actually yesterday I went overboard. But if you had experienced what I experienced, I was fired, or my spouse, or whatever I call them, flavors of the week, and they depend on who you are talking to. This would not have happened. So again, it is never my fault. So if you can get me the job or relieve the stress or whatever flavor of the week, sort it out, I will reduce. And then at one point, the alcoholic starts feeling something is wrong, because you're always in a mess. But to the alcoholic, the alcohol has become my best friend, who will not judge me, who will not ask me why I'm in a bar on a Monday morning instead of at work or at school.
Right.
And it deals with my emotional pain and physical pain.
Right.
So at one point, I used to go to very shady bars where nobody would ask me, you know, we are all birds of the same feather. But then in the evening, when guys come from work and guys are putting their car keys on the table and blah, 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 and they're talking about development and what they're doing, and the kids are going to college,
Right.
The alcohol deals with that pain. And I'm talking other things which to me make sense, but to these other guys, it's nonsense. So, and then we say my sickness makes you sick. So if I'm drunk, the family also becomes drunk, because this whole stigma which surrounds alcoholism. So the alcoholic doesn't want to accept he's alcoholic or she's alcoholic, neither does the family. So the family is also buying into the flavor of the week, get him a job or a different
He's
school
stressed
or
she's
stressed,
stressed,
or, you know. So the point to where, and you saw like in that video, a lot of people are saying those kids there's nothing they're doing because you can't help an addict. And this is a very common misconception. The addict has to agree. If you wait for the addict to agree,
they may never agree.
You know, most probably start planning to build a rehab in their name when they die. Because an addict coming to you to say, today is a beautiful Wednesday, Cynthia, I'm an addict, please take me to a rehab is like 0.0001%. It's almost an impossibility.
Impossible, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, you've mentioned about, you know, reducing the intake of alcohol, which brings me to, you've got cutting back on alcohol drinking vis-a-vis quitting alcohol. And these are like two separate roads that an individual who's an addict may decide to take, you know, cut back, may perhaps just, you know, drink once a week. And they've got quitting alcohol completely. That means you say, I am not in one way or the other going to take alcohol, regardless of what I'm going through in life. And so how do these two roads look like, if you can paint a picture, just how different they are?
I would say one road is a drunkard, and the other road is an alcoholic. But the symptoms are the same. Actually, I say they are twins. A drunkard and an alcoholic, they're twins. Because the symptoms are almost identical. But the difference here is huge. The drunkard still has control.
Okay.
Okay? So the drunkard will drink, let's say, there was a promotion or passed well in school or whatever, and they go out to celebrate, and he drinks overboard for that day. Let's say somebody is driving, has an accident, come out of the car, sit on the pavement in his suit, that's my favorite example, look at his car written off, and tell himself, I don't like this. And if this is what 10 beers does, from today I will take 5 or 4 or none. So has drunk, bad reaction, looks at the situation and says no. Even to the point of quitting or reducing. Why? Because they still have control. The alcoholic, same situation, will get out of the car. The car is a write-off. Everybody's looking and saying nobody could have survived this crash. And he walks into a bar and says, everybody away. I could have died. God loves me.
Right.
I always tell you people, if it's not your day, it's not your day. Give me a round. Me, bring me a crate.
The round is on me.
The round is on me.
Right.
You see? And you see, I have duty. You see? The lorry which knocked, he will always see something positive in it. The guy falls asleep in a ditch with his suit. Guys are going to work in the morning. So they're whispering, is this guy dead? Amekufa? Then the guy wakes up. Instead of seeing he slept in a ditch with his suit, guys are going to work wondering whether he's dead. In his head, he's thinking that changa I drank is so nice. If it could make me black out till I've slept in the ditch, let me rush back before it is finished. Always looking at the positive
aspect of
the alcohol. Because the alcohol is now his best friend or her best friend. I don't have a problem. I am drinking because. So it's literally a parallel universe.
Okay.
So here you are then sitting with the alcoholic, trying to reason. And let me tell you, I have said many times for many years, Cynthia, that somebody needs to do a research, because I am yet to meet a stupid alcoholic, including the one who's talking. And I don't know why that happens, but you reason with an alcoholic. I came back from India after 4 years with nothing. Not even my passport, I sold it. And when my mom asked me, what will you tell your dad? My dad was at the coast, he was coming the next day.
Okay.
At least if you came with your degree. I had nothing, not even luggage, nothing. The clothes I had were bought by the Kenya High Commission. So my mom was saying, clothes, what, all those things, your certificates, what, those, not an issue. At least if you came with your degree.
Yeah.
What will you tell your father tomorrow? And I asked my mom, as if a statement I made 4 years ago when I was leaving, I didn't want to go to India. So in the end, when they really insisted, I said, I will go because I respect you.
Yeah.
I don't want to disrespect you, but you will come and read. So I asked my mom, why would dad ask me? Well, remember I told you I will go, but you will come and read. So me, I went, I almost died. But the reading, the degree, was you guys. Now, if we went to a court, the judge would ask, did he say that? Yes, I would win the case. You see? So always, even in spite of all that, my reason was I didn't want to go to India. So don't blame me. The money you spent, and I created so many messes there, which they had to send money to sort, police, conning people, so many things, you see. But in my head, I'm saying, it's not my fault.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys sent me there. I didn't want to go. You are the ones who are supposed to come and read. So it's literally a parallel universe. You cannot reason. And that's why I say my sickness makes you sick. I'm drunk on this side. Right. You are drunk this side thinking, okay, I've come, I've said the boss doesn't like lose. So you say, okay, that's why I was fired. So you say, okay, let's get him another job. You're not wondering that this is job number 100. And it is always the boss or my colleagues or,
It's never you.
It's never me.
Yeah.
And there you go, running around looking for job number 100, and most of the time I'm not qualified. So it's because you have a connection with whoever who then comes back to you because you now put their job at risk. Why did they hire an alcoholic? So you need to understand what you're dealing with first so that you can help in the correct way. Otherwise, you're always falling for the flavors of the week.
Is this to mean that for an alcoholic, cutting back is not an option? Quitting is the option?
Yes. Because you have the analogy I give, all of us are trailers. The number plate, yours is Cynthia, mine is David. 40-foot, fully loaded trailers. Whether you drink alcohol or not. Okay? So you're an adult, you've made a conscious decision. It doesn't work for me. I don't see any need to drink alcoholic beverages. You still have your trailer. Now, with the alcoholic, in the beginning, when I'm drinking, and this trailer parks on top of a 60-degree slope. So in the beginning, I reach a roundabout, I need to stop, I press the brakes work. But gradually, the brakes wear away. And when you cross into addiction, that is simply brake failure. So there is your 40-foot fully loaded trailer with no brakes.
You're going to crash.
You're going to crash. Right. So the only option, don't enter that trailer. So the option of cutting down is gone with the brakes.
Right.
Yeah, and those brakes can never be fixed. They will never come back. So the only option is stopping.
Right.
Yes.
Let me go back to the analogy on the video of the kids that we just saw. And as you've rightly put it, some would feel like talking to this individual is not going to help. And so for an alcoholic, they need that sort of support system, people that are going to make the decisions on their behalf. So how can these people set goals for change and say, this is step one, where we are going to start, this is step two, this is step three? Because talking to these people is never enough. They may agree and say, okay, I'm going to stop. And then tomorrow, they have reverted back to old ways. So how do people around alcoholics set that goals for change?
Again, those kids talking to their parents, there have been instances of situations like that, where the parent actually thinks, or the significant other, it could be a spouse or whatever, actually is so touched by that they actually make a decision to enter a treatment program. Let us suppose it's a residential, so rehab, where they do not get the chance to say, okay, since I've agreed to go, which even I did, since I've agreed to go, let me have the last drink. And that last drink took me like 7 months.
Ya mwisho.
Okay? And you saw again in that video, people were saying maybe they should have talked to him when he's not drinking. No. Okay. I have had, we have somebody who I hope we are going to get on this program and start his recovery journey on this program, because he watched an earlier episode when we were doing this program and came forward. So there's the odd 1% which is touched. But what we need to do is show the alcoholic all your problems, and today is World Suicide Prevention Day.
And we'll come to that.
All your problems are coming from the drinking. Not that the drink is solving your emotional problems and other problems coming. So how do you get him to see, or her to see, these breaks are gone and they will never come back?
Right. Because
that is when you need the alcoholic first to see that, so that then they're in the driver's seat for their recovery. So basically in my program, I show alcoholics, the problem is in your left hand, the solution is in your right hand, but the hands are yours. The work of getting sober is you, and it is work. So just as you have been working on drinking, you now need to work a day at a time on not drinking.
Do we have scenarios where somebody is taken to rehab forcefully rather than them volunteering and say, I want to go to rehab?
Yes.
Yeah.
I also personally do not support forced admissions, as we call them.
Yeah.
They rarely work. They rarely work. I've seen a few. which have worked. But again, in certain instances, this person is a danger to themselves and others.
Yeah.
The alcoholics who are very violent.
Yeah.
But what I do, I get them into a police cell or some other place where they can be safely contained, and then wait for a few days for the alcohol to exit the brain, and then try and start that conversation. But I still strongly believe that, and the alcoholic won't accept. The alcoholic won't accept.
Yeah.
So how do we get the alcoholic to accept? So in my program, which is called SATCAT, Set a Thief to Catch a Thief, we say you can't chase the alcoholic. The alcoholic always has an answer. I'm drinking because my dad. What are you going to ask me? I told you I'll go. You'll come and read. In fact, I told my mom I'll even tell him I almost died there. You see? So the reading was you guys. You didn't come, so don't ask me. So how do you have to get the alcoholic to see and understand why he's getting into these messes, why he can drink, but he can never drink safely again. I call it spoiling the drinking. So my voice or whoever spoils your drinking, when you now go and drink, that guy doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
So something happens, my voice is saying, if it was me, you see, you go again, you drink, something happens. You go in the morning, you have no money to drink, you're in a bar begging for sips to remove your lock. My voice is saying, you see, withdrawal, and you're going to beg. And then you're going to get money, you get money, you blow it, some was stolen, some you lent, you can't remember. My voice is saying, so every time you are drinking and you are trying to say because, my voice is saying, it's not because, it's because of ABCD.
Right.
Until even when I had 1 or 2 relapses, when I left rehab, the person who spoiled my drinking, the voice, which is still in my head, though I've not had it for over 25 years.
Right.
It's still there. So I looked for a bar, went and sat in a bar, where I'm not known. I ordered the beer, and the voice is telling me, you've ordered the beer, you haven't opened. You can still walk out, and so on and so forth. So eventually, even though I drank, the voice, every time something happens, you see, I told you, until it's like a mosquito in your ears, which doesn't work.
Buzzing.
And at the end of the day, I listened to the voice, and I haven't picked a drink since. So you have to show. You can't chase the addict. They always have an answer. How do we get the addict to chase us?
But like sort of reverse psychology.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. You've talked about withdrawal symptoms. Now, for this alcoholic who's been taken into rehab or just a different form of treatment that they're taking, what are some of the withdrawal symptoms that they're likely to experience, and how do they deal with that?
Okay. It's different for different people. Some people will have also it depends how mild it is or how strong it is. You have like hallucinations. For example, now hallucinations, by the time you're getting hallucinations, you are most probably in chronic or late stage alcoholism, which is actually that is the hardest stage to help. We can even call it hardcore alcoholic. Hallucinations can be visual, you are seeing things which are not there, which is the most common.
Yeah.
It can be auditory, you hear things which are not there, or you taste things. So you're like, now I'm sipping my water and I'm tasting coffee or whatever. Another very common one is the shakes. Your voice becomes hoarse or disappears completely. Heart palpitations, your heart's beating wildly, and so on. So there are quite a number of them. It is simply your body has got used to your drug of choice, in my case mainly alcohol. You become restless, irritable, short-tempered. And I, for example, I usually ask like smokers, are you an addict or a smoker? Because you hear smokers saying, I'm not an addict, I'm a smoker. And for example, we were having work whenever we have workshops. So after lunch, some guys are late, and I'm asking, should we wait for them? because they're going to have a quick puff after eating. And the guy said, no, why are we waiting for them? Because what? Let them smoke. They know, time. And I'm saying, no, but they're addicts. And then we write down symptoms, withdrawal symptoms of heroin addicts, alcoholics, and so on. And then you see the ones of tobacco literally are the same. So your body has actually got used to that drug, and you are now, your body is in equilibrium or balanced when there's enough of that drug in your system. And that is what a non-alcoholic will have a hangover. Right. Let's say a headache, nausea, etc. Those are also some of the withdrawal symptoms. But an alcoholic, this is actually a medical condition. A doctor can actually examine you and say, you are suffering, even the way your heart is racing and so on. This is actually a medical emergency. Withdrawal actually kills alcoholics, a lot of them, and that's where detox comes in, especially when you have other underlying conditions like heart issues, where stopping, boom, cold turkey can help. Right. And again, you see when people say, why don't, you can't just stop like that. You can, because that's how I stopped. But I was lucky. I did not have any underlying conditions. For people who might be having, it can actually prove fatal. But not every condition. So the way you hear people saying detox is the beginning. No, that's just people making money. And what detox is, in my case, you are given a drug which mimics the effects of alcohol or the psychoactive ingredient, which is ethanol. And that dose is reduced between a period of 10 to 14 days to 0, so that your body transits without this withdrawal symptoms, some which can be very harsh. Right. Yes.
Oh, okay. And today being 10th September, it's World Suicide Prevention Day. Basically a day where an awareness is done globally on just suicide prevention and suicide related issues. And so alcoholic or alcohol falls under that category as well. Perhaps we can begin off from your own personal experience on just how you got to that level, and maybe we can learn something from it.
There is a high rate of death by suicide amongst alcoholics. So as we said in the earlier episodes, when you start, you have that high tolerance. Simply, you are able to consume large amounts of alcohol, and you look sober, like you're drinking water. And you maintain that tolerance for years, and then it starts going down. So this is another thing about alcoholism, it's progressive. So as it starts going down, it reaches a point. Now the alcoholic is trying. So I've tried to change what I drink, who I drink with. So I'm saying maybe I drink during the day, I won't drink during the day, I'll stop during the week, maybe it's my friends, I need to stop drinking spirits, and maybe it's the whiskey, and so on. So you are trying different combinations to get your breaks back, literally. Not knowing that those breaks will never come back, not connecting. So at one point, and don't forget, at a certain point, people have started telling you, like in my case, you're useless. Look at your brothers, the professor, the architect, your sister, the doctor, you're the firstborn. You're shaming you're shaming your family. Look at your mom, look at your dad, stupid, useless. So you always have an answer. But at some point, you start internalizing this, though you will never admit it. So it was at one point when I was in India, I was waiting to go to a party I was paying for half the booze. So I'm sitting with one bottle. I'm saying, since they're going to drink half from my pocket, this bottle I'm drinking myself. And this is a 750 ml bottle of spirits. Wow. Okay? About 40% proof. Okay? So I don't know how in my head it just flashed. Later, with hindsight, it was God. Now playing back from my high school, where the message started in Form 2 and what, and my high school, and now India, this is my 3rd year. I've not stepped into class. I've created crazy messes, some involving high commissions, you know, different Kenyan High Commission and different, you know, international disasters. So, and my siblings have all gone to the US. And none of them, all of them were only paid for fees for the 1st year. In fact, one of my younger brothers went to the US before me and then told my parents, don't pay fees. What you'd have paid for me, we hear David has agreed to go to India, use that money to pay fees. So I told myself, I've tried to change. You see, I'm still not connecting these problems with alcohol. I've tried to change, but I'm always creating messes. So some parents lose all their children. Let me off myself, let them remain, you know, with the 3 out of 4. And you see, this is my reasoning. Let them, some parents lose all. They will remain with the 3 good ones. 3 out of 4 is a good deal. So I picked a knife, I started cutting myself, you know, stupid. You're going to die, you know. And then it was too painful, so I swallowed pills. And I was actually in a coma. Luckily, I survived, as you can see. And that was literally the worst attempt. I had had several lesser ones, if you could call it that. Again, mainly swallowing pills, though some of them I swallowed knowing, you know, you swallow and then you go and tell somebody, I've swallowed pills, and you're rushed to the hospital. But there's a very high rate, because that is at the point the alcoholic or the other drug addict gives up on themselves, and it is usually not when we're sober. It's usually when we're high with whatever drug we're taking, and you reason, and you're not connecting the drugs with your problems, and you're seeing you have actually tried. You've even changed environment, you've moved towns, you've changed jobs, you've changed friends, you've even left spouses. That my spouse was also drinking, you know, and nothing works. It is the point where the addict gives up on themselves. They take all that internalized abuse over the years, people tell you you're useless, etc., and say enough is enough.
Right.
Yeah.
And you've talked about your spouse, and so for couples, I'd say, who are both alcoholics, I mean, how now do they help themselves, or at least even for communities that come in, how do you help these people? Because these are two people living under the same roof, battling with the same problems. Yeah.
Again, we have had, and I hope we will get one of my volunteers, we're all volunteers, who will come and talk about her addiction recovery journey. She was addicted to heroin, and so was the spouse. So we took her to the drop-in center. There's a drop-in center we run in Gara, it's free, and Kangware. And at one point, this guy is coming to bring her heroin. What's this nonsense you are going, you know? And she's also busy trying to get the guy to come to the program. So we're saying, when he's coming, he's bringing you heroin. And now that you showed him the place, he keeps trying to pull you out of the program. Why don't you get sober first? Then you will be in a better position to help him. Unfortunately, the guy is no more, and she will tell her story, what happened to him. But it becomes very difficult. It also becomes a problem if the spouse is not alcoholic but consumes alcohol, which is the case with my spouse. So here I am, I've stopped, but my spouse is consuming alcohol. There's alcohol kept in the house. So you find, in most cases, you need a situation where the spouse who is drinking, but in a controlled manner, is able to say no, for the sake of
this one that
not
is recovering,
having temptation here. And of course, you are sleeping in the same bed. Somebody has drunk. You want to kiss your spouse. They're smelling of alcohol. You're in the same bed. The alcohol is smelling in the house. it's triggering all this, because I met her when she was drinking and I was drinking. So anytime you see her drinking, but at some point you reach a stage where you also need to realize, as the alcoholic in the family, there are places you are going to go, either by nature of work or family, funerals, weddings, etc., staff parties, where people are using alcohol and other drugs, but you cannot.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, you have to be your own policeman. You have to realize these other people's trailers have brakes. And this is again what I say, we need to understand this whole topic. Let's even leave aside alcoholism. Even the drug alcohol is a very emotive topic. You start talking about it and people get very worked up. Even just talking about alcohol. So you don't drink. So you are talking to me like that just because you don't drink, you know? Why should you not drink, and so on and so forth. So it becomes a very emotive topic. So when you are now reaching the alcohol, and this is why I tell people alcohol does not cause alcoholism. And I will keep repeating this, you see, and I keep saying I am not anti-alcohol. I am anti-underage drinking, which we'll talk about another time. So I say, whether you are a clergy, you own a bar, you manufacture alcohol, you consume alcohol, you do not consume alcohol.
Right.
Whatever is your situation, your trailer, as long as you are an adult, it is our collective duty to make sure young people don't drink.
Right.
So bottom line then becomes convincing this person is that I can drink, but you cannot drink because you're alcoholic. So I'm saying, for example, if I'm told I'm diabetic, don't take sugar. Do we ban sugar for everybody? If I'm told you have high blood pressure, do not use salt. Do we ban salt for everyone? So if I'm told you're alcoholic, you cannot drink safely, do we ban alcohol for the majority of adults who can drink? So no, I do not like the word responsibly. That is terminology of the alcohol industry, who do not accept that their product, that alcoholism exists. So they say if people like Dave Ogot drank, our product has no issues. If people like Dave Ogot drank responsibly, and that's why even there's a debate that is alcohol even a drug in the first place.
Yeah.
Okay, so you hear even our body called NACADA, National Campaign Against Alcohol
And drug abuse.
and Drugs, as if they are two separate items. So when we were in school, and even when people were telling me to use bangi and other drugs in Form 3, I was saying, me, I only use tobacco and alcohol. I don't do drugs, you see? And that belief is still there because alcohol and tobacco are socially acceptable.
Yeah.
Yet when you look at tobacco, when we'll talk about tobacco another time, tobacco kills more people worldwide every year than all drugs, legal and illegal, HIV-related, road crashes, tuberculosis, and one other one I keep forgetting, combined. Yet it's legal, socially acceptable, etc. So that responsible drinking comes from the brewers.
Right.
And the brewers at the same time, you talked about reverse psychology. I've been saying for years, this thing of saying for adults only, and you actually make it worse when you say alcohol strictly
For persons above 18.
above 18
Right.
or adults.
Yeah.
You see, now a teenager is trying to position themselves as an adult. Remember, I started drinking because I couldn't talk to girls. Girls like tough guys who break the rules. You're trying to appear more mature, and this was discovered by the tobacco industry. You see, because again, you say tobacco for over 18. Is there a safe age? For tobacco whichever age you use it, underage, underage, quote unquote, overage, whichever age you use tobacco, if you use it according to manufacturer's instructions, it should kill you. So we again say responsible drinking, strictly for young people, we should remove that, because you are then actually advertising.
And triggering.
To the young people, because they want to drive a car, okay? You see, young people are at that age of rebelling against, so you are telling, don't do this, those are the things they want to do. Right. You are not old enough to drive, I want to drive, I want to ride a motorcycle, I want to drink alcohol, I want to smoke tobacco. In our time, when there were a lot of going to the movies, there were those movies which were adults only. And people like me who are blessed with height, and then there was a type of there was a type of shoes called platforms. So I'm already almost 6 foot. Then I'm wearing shoes platforms which have a sole of 3 inches. So I'm bending down and my voice are broken at a bass. I'm saying, give me 2 tickets, please. So you're trying to appear adult.
Right. Okay, as we wrap this conversation up, because now you've brought up NACADA, and in July they sort of put out a policy which they say is not enforced yet, but it's sort of like a roadmap to dealing with alcohol addiction. And one of the things they were proposing was at least to raise the minimum drinking age from 18 to 21, to ban the sale of alcohol online, to ban the sale of alcohol and advertisement through influencers, and that you'll have just specific sort of stores that have been licensed and approved to sell alcohol. Is this a step perhaps towards the right direction, or this is sort of like nothing in a mountain?
For those proposals, I think we need 2 programs, and that's if we really whatever. I will just pick the age limit. 1, the tobacco industry, since we're about alcohol, the alcohol industry is very crafty. Note I said we need every adult to help in this underage drinking to make sure underage people don't drink. And this starts from, if you see my child in a bar or with alcohol, box their ears, okay? Because when I'm boxing, you are boxing my child's ears, I am boxing your child's ears.
Right.
And in my time, you could not enter a bar. Today, they enter a bar in uniform, and they are served alcohol. And everybody saying, okay, go some toto, you touch somebody's child, and blah, blah, blah. And, punishment and sparing the rod and the child, which is a whole nother topic. So there's biological reasons, okay? Because you are, as a young person, teenage, let's give it even up to 19, is still a teenager. And by law, you are then an adult.
Right.
Your brain is not fully developed. As a teenager, you have poor judgment. As a young person, you have poor judgment. Okay? Now, alcohol, like other drugs, consumption leads to poor judgment. So me, I say, there you now have poor judgment squared. Okay? Then, your brain is not fully developed. So it interferes with brain development. The earlier you start drinking alcohol also, it takes you away from learning things. I left rehab when I was a few months shy of my 35th birthday. So things my colleagues were learning 16, 17, 18, because I started drinking at 13, I now start learning at that time. How do you relate with other people? Because me, I just use then that's how. So without it, I'm stuck.
Right.
Now, how do you relate with other people? Members of the opposite sex, workplace, school, blah, blah, blah. You see? So I'm learning things I should have learned almost a decade ago. Again, your development, mental and emotional, is also slowed, because as it's developing, as you grow with those relations and so on, here it is put on hold. So literally, I am living almost 35, but you minus 35 from the time I started drinking, that is 13 to 35, that is then my age at that time. So this one, on that one, it is supported. Even in places like the US, they had put it 21, there was a lot of backlash, they took it back to 18, then they saw the same problems they were trying to solve, put it back in 21. In places like Europe, where there's this culture with wine for years, you have kids, even 13, 14, having a bit of wine with meals and the parents. So it's not such a big deal, but you still find it is not that drinking which you see in other countries. So there they have a longer history, and it's like things with wine, etc., which is less alcoholic content. So coming back, that one I would support for biological reasons, judgment squared, etc. Now these others, Mutuzo laws came in to force. They have covered all these things. The problem we have is not laws.
It's implementation.
It is implementation, the enforcement. You see, box my child here, wherever you see them, as I box yours, and adults are all over. We are the ones who own the bars and the shops, etc. How are you going? Don't punish people who can drink safely because of the ones, the underage, etc.
Right.
We had this thing of having alcohol manufacturers saying this thing of advertising. So it was brought Watershed on TV, 8:30 and beyond, when young people are meant to have gone to bed. So if yours hasn't gone to bed, that's your problem.
That's your problem.
But listen to radio stations, non-faith-based radio stations. There is an alcohol, the presenter is talking about brand X after every 2 songs. Now, when I'm walking with my earpods, am I watching TV as I'm walking, or I'm listening to radio? And this is from morning to evening, promotions. What? So you see, why aren't we bothered with that? So the alcohol people said, okay, how many of these young people are watching TV anyway? You know, and even the ones watching, are they watching it on a screen, or they're watching
on their phones,
on the phone,
tablet or something,
or tablet or whatever? And what else are they listening to more? It's radio. So every few minutes on every non-faith-based station, there are ads. Why aren't they looking at that? So the alcohol industry has pulled the wool over their ears, you see, and in over their eyes, and in so many places. So when you look at a lot of those other proposals, some are already there, okay? Look at the music videos, okay? Look at the movies on non-faith-based TV stations. And this is a Sunday, 10 a.m. What they're showing.
Right. Okay. We're out of time, David Ogot. Perhaps just closing remarks in 30 seconds as we wrap it up this morning.
Okay. That video we showed in the beginning, a lot of people were commenting, oh, those kids shouldn't have done that. It is a curse and so on. The family is the best placed people to help an alcoholic into treatment. You have, and I will not stop repeating this, you have to first know what you are dealing with, and there's, as 10 of us experts you'll get, or 100 of us, you'll get 100 different explanations. I come from the school of thought it's a disease, no cure, but manageable. Get to know what you are dealing with so that you then know how do you approach your alcoholic and get them to see that the brakes are gone, so that they are in the driver's seat of their recovery. Stop hiding your alcoholic, because when they die, people will ask you, and I said it is progressive. If not treated, it is fatal. When they die, people will ask you, didn't you know there was help? Leave the stigma. That alcoholic is yours, not the government. The government will not help you. You will go shouting, government needs to create rehabs, Governor Kada needs to do programs. This is your person. It is a very simple program. The brakes have failed. There is no repair for the brakes. Look for help. Help is available.
All right. Thank you so much, David Ogot, who is a recovering alcoholic, for your time this morning. Thank you for your insights to just help individuals, communities, families, friends to come in and just support and, you know, find ways of how they can help people who are alcoholics. We wrap it up at that point this morning. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you're duly educated. And if you've missed this program, you can rewatch it across our various platforms. Just, you can share this as well. Share it in various groups so that people can come on board and just work and help in reducing the intake of alcohol amongst alcoholics, as well as to just help in you know, dealing with this and enforcing stricter control measures. Thank you for watching. My name is Cynthia Nanjala. Have yourself a good morning.